Well, good morning and welcome. Welcome to another edition of the Art Lewis Show from my Saginaw Spirit home studio. Nice to have you with us on this Thursday morning. Lots to talk about. It's an open line hour. So, whatever you'd like to chat about, you can get online 989-752-6111. Let's see what's in the news and hot today. Travel masks. The government says it will appeal the ruling of the judge that knocked down the travel mask requirement. We'll talk about that a little bit. The Queen turns 96 today. Why do we care? Well, we'll talk about that. The Rust movie got fined, and Alex Baldwin, of course, that's the one where the gun was loaded, and he didn't know it was loaded, so the saying goes. We'll talk about that and couple that with some attempts to restrict guns, a gun control, if you will, in California after a shooting in Sacramento. Russia, Ukraine in the news. The president will increase aid. And in sports, Miggy seeks 3,000 and the Spirits get number one. The Spirit gets number one in the pick in the priority draft coming up for the Ontario Hockey League. So there's a lot out there to talk about, and whatever you'd like to chat about too, we'd be delighted to hear from you on this Thursday morning. And by the way, coming up after the 10 o'clock news this morning, we will talk to Ken Fletcher with the American Lung Association about air quality. And we will do that after the 10 o'clock news at 11. We'll talk to Ken Buck from Buck Insurance about insurance and the upcoming Freeland Walleye Festival. I'll be out there a couple of days next week. We'll tell you all about that too. I want to start with the masking because we had touched on it yesterday. And once again, I have been proven to be completely and totally wrong. I did not think the government would seek an appeal of the judge's decision, mainly because the extension only went till May 3rd, and I don't know if it's likely they'll even have an appeals court ruling by then. Maybe they will. Maybe they'll get put on a priority list and it'll be tackled right away. But apparently the Department of Justice will appeal the judge's ruling striking down the mask mandates in travel because the CDC says that there is still a risk. Now, I mean, the thing about it, when you talk about airplanes and you talk about masks, and put aside for a moment whether you think masks are good, bad, work, don't work, forget that. There is probably no place on Earth, of course, they're not on Earth, they're up in the air, but there's no place on Earth that changes the air more frequently than an airplane. You're probably less likely to catch anything on an airplane than any other type of conveyance or anything else you do, because the air is constantly being recycled over and over and over again. So I never did understand totally why we would have a mask requirement on airplanes. If they wanted to have it in airports where you're walking around and the air isn't changed as much, well, as much as I might not like it, okay, fine. But on airplanes, it didn't make a lot of sense. And of course, as long as you're eating or drinking, you could take your mask down. So don't you think they went through a lot of water and a lot of pop and a lot of booze? Well, they stopped selling booze for a while, but a lot of pop and a lot of water and things like that. Because people could claim, well, I'm drinking or I'm eating, I'm having a peanut. Instead of taking that bag of peanuts and scoffing it down, they eat one peanut at a time, keep their mask off, So I just never did understand it. And the CDC says they're continuing to monitor public health conditions to determine whether such an order remains necessary. I really don't think it's the order itself that's being challenged. By that, I mean, I don't think the Department of Justice is appealing simply because they want this order in place. I think what they're appealing for is the future of decisions made by the CDC. Because if this ruling were to stand, that the CDC acted unlawfully and didn't follow protocol and all of that, it would impact future decisions on health issues, some of which the CDC should probably rule on. So I suspect this lawsuit has more to do with the future than it does the present. But that's my non-legal beagle opinion, because I'm certainly not a lawyer. I don't pretend to play one on the radio. It's just an observation that I have. And when she knocked down the law, the judge, Catherine Kimball Mazzell, said that the CDC did not follow proper rulemaking procedures. So would this change much? Or would they simply have to now follow the procedures? I don't know. I do know this, that the CDC over the life of the pandemic has brought forth a lot of confusion, a lot of mixed messages, and I don't think they did the job nearly as well as they could have. But I'm not a doctor either. I don't play a lawyer on the radio. I don't play a doctor on the radio. That's why I've said all along that while I favor vaccines, that's a personal choice you have to make. I'm not your medical advisor. I will not tell you to do something medically simply because I do it. The only thing I would tell people medically to do is to get a regular physical. That to me makes a lot of sense. Because if you don't, and you go years and years without visiting a doctor, as many people do, you could be harboring something in your body that could kill you and you don't even know it. So I'm a big fan of regular physicals. But again, in the same way that I would advise you to get one, it's a personal choice. I don't think the government should tell you to get one. I certainly don't think a radio talk show host is knowledgeable enough to tell you what to do medically. And as I've said many, many times, when I get sick, the first person I call is not my political representative, nor is it another radio talk show host. It's my doctor. When I want medical advice, I seek it from a medical professional, not from the government, not from the radio, not from what my buddies tell me, but what my doctor tells me. That's what I pay him for. And that's my reasoning for it. I have a note from somebody at the station. It says, when you live to be 100, I'll listen to any medical advice you have. I guess he expects me not to retire. I love it. All right, guys. It is about 23 after the hour. We'll take a break. We'll see if we can give away some money, because it is time to play WSGW's Baseball Bucks, presented by Stone Specialists. Right now, you can qualify to win the daily cash prize of $1,000 by entering the following word online at WSGW.com. And the baseball word this hour is Ron, R-O-N, like Ron LaFleur. It's an Alpha Media company-wide contest. Must be 18 or older to play. One winner chosen each day. And complete rules at WSGW.com. Baseball Bucks, presented by Stone Specialists on WSGW. And while I have your ear, let me talk to you about my friends at Thalen Honda. They're located on North Euclid Avenue in Bay City. Right there, a whole string of Thalen dealerships, including Honda. And you know, as you drive around, you look at the lots of various dealers, new cars are at a premium. They're scarce. And they're going out the door as fast as they come in. So I would suggest if you're in the market for a Honda, you stop into Thalen Honda, find out what they have coming in the pipeline, put your name on one of them while you still can. And you know, with gas prices where they are, remember that Honda was ranked first among all full-line automakers in the 2021 EPA report at 29.1 miles per gallon. That's 3.7 miles per gallon higher than the industry average for the 2020 model year. Plus, the 2022 Honda Civic won the prestigious North American Car of the Year award. And in addition, the Honda Ridgeline was ranked first among the longest-lasting trucks. So visit Thalen Honda, North Euclid Avenue today to see what's on order and reserve the car you'd like before it's too late. Now, if you're looking to move up, not necessarily into a new car, but a pre-owned car, well, you're in luck because Thalen Auto Group, with all those dealerships side by side on North Euclid Avenue, have hundreds of vehicles to choose from, probably the biggest collection in the Great Lakes Bay region. And you can stop in and look at them all yourself or go online to thinkthalen.com. The Thalen family, remember that they have been serving your automotive needs for 45 years. Thalen, North Euclid Avenue, Bay City. All right, back with you here on WSGW. To the phones we go. Al is in Midland. Good morning, Al. Sure. Yep. All right. Whoa. Hang on. Hang on. I don't think Consumers owns that plant anymore. Somebody else has it, I think. But I know they're planning. Right in May, I think. Yes. It could be, huh? And not only that, it's efficient. It doesn't emit anything in the atmosphere. I mean, it's. I think it's got advantages all the way around. But I've always been a fan of nuclear energy. Uh, but it's fallen on deaf ears, and the cost of building those plants got out of sight for a long, long time. Mm-hmm. What kind of failure? What kind of failure? They're passive. Was it just one panel or all the panels? Was it one panel or all the panels? So why can't you just simply skip that panel and daisy chain to the next one? Should be. Yeah, should be. Yeah, well, but also let's understand that's an isolated incident, doesn't represent the mainstream of the industry. That's one incident. Well, I don't know if one car crashes, are you going to drive yours because of the potential? Sure it is. Sure it is. You have a failure, and you don't pack up your life because of one failure. You don't stop because your car breaks down. Let's say let's pick a big one. Your engine blows up. All right, you go out and buy another car or whatever. But the fact is, you'll still drive, and so will the rest of the world. Yeah, you could put a new engine in. So why couldn't they put a new panel in? Yeah, I really I have to wonder about that because they're building all these solar farms, and you can't tell me if one panel fails, the whole farm is toast. I don't buy that for a minute. Yeah, but you would think the supplier would have them. Yeah. Yep. Yeah, more than words. Yep. All right. Good enough. All right, Al. Fair enough. Have a good one. Bye bye now. And by the way, Palisades, I'm told, is owned by Entergy, is the company that owns it and is closing it down, and has said that it's too late for the government to rush in. They were trying to save nuclear plants, but they're not going to be able to save that one, apparently. Of course, that's today. Who knows what tomorrow brings? Take a break, and more ahead on the Art Lewis Show. Lines open for you. All right, we're back with you here on WSGW. Couple of things revolving around gun safety I want to talk about. One of them has to do with the movie Rust. And if you're not familiar with it, that is the movie that Alex Baldwin was making when he fired a gun that had a live round and killed the camera person. And, the finger pointing began almost immediately with Baldwin saying he had no responsibility. Of course, his finger was on the trigger. He said he didn't pull the trigger, but it's a single action gun. Doesn't happen by itself. And the company producing rust has received a $137,000 fine for firearms safety failures. I want to speak just for a second about this, and then I'll get to a California effort to push gun control, which won't do any good. Whoops. Sorry about that. Pushed a button accidentally. Anyone who has handled a firearm and has learned how to handle a firearm, what's the first thing you learn? Let's say you own a pistol, semi-automatic. The first thing you learn about handling that gun is to ensure that it's clean, that the magazine's empty, that the chamber is empty, and then when you hold the gun, your finger is not on the trigger. Very first things you learn. Never pointed at anything you're not going to shoot. Never pointed in a direction where there's something behind what you're going to shoot that you don't want to hit. There are all kinds of safety rules. And on the set of a movie, typically, a gun is never pointed at an individual because rarely do you see a shot where the gun is fired directly at an individual. You may see the person shooting the gun shoot the gun, and then they cut to the person that's hit, but usually not in the same frame. Safety has been a part of the motion picture industry for decades because of the use of firearms, and they use real firearms. They're not using replica firearms. They load them with percussive rounds that don't have projectiles. But in this case, a bullet was loaded into the chamber of the gun. Now, I live in a world where if somebody were to hand me a weapon and say it's clean, I'm not going to believe them. I'm going to look at the magazine. I'm going to look at the chamber. Or if it's a revolver, I'm going to rotate the cylinder. I want to know it for myself. And I think even in a movie set where the assistant director or whoever it was, the armorer, hands the actor a gun, in this case Alec Baldwin, and says it's cold, which is what I think the term they used, I wouldn't believe him. I'd be checking it myself. And the notion that the gun, that he didn't cause the gun to fire. Well, they don't go off by themselves. And then he pointed it at someone, and it discharged and killed the young lady. And for him to say he has no blame at all, nothing, won't take any responsibility, I think is a great disservice. It's just me. I just think that there are enough safety rules out there that this could have been prevented easily if all he had to do was look. He checked the rounds that were in that revolver to check to make sure they weren't bullets and put them back in again. That's all it would take. 2 minutes, if that. But I'm overly safety conscious. Not everybody is. Okay, now the other one I want to talk about. There was a shooting in Sacramento. 6 dead. So California lawmakers, being California lawmakers, jump on the opportunity to pass or try and pass gun control. They have put forward a measure aimed at restricting the marketing and advertising of firearms to minors and prohibited persons. How do you do that? If on one of the outdoor networks, for example, Remington or Smith & Wesson or Glock or you name it want to advertise their product in an environment where you have shooters watching the program, how do they ensure that a disqualified person isn't watching that or a prohibited person isn't watching that? How do you do that? Another proposal would create a standard by which the firearm industry could be sued in civil court beginning in July 2023. It would allow people to bring civil lawsuits against the firearms industry, which could run head on into the Federal Protection of Lawful Commerce in Arms Act. And that law prevents junk lawsuits against the firearms industry. Now, let's also remember that in Connecticut recently, the firearms company that made the guns used in the school shooting up there were held responsible. But again, it was designed to prevent junk lawsuits, whatever that means. And then the third proposal, which is also a proposal being looked at nationally, is to go after ghost guns. And this particular legislation would target ghost guns. Now, I have mixed feelings on all of this, and let me tell you why. If you own a gun, if you've purchased a pistol, for example, you know that when you go in, you fill out the paperwork, and then you get 3 pieces of paper. One is kept by the store, one is your proof of sale, and one is a copy that goes to your registration authority, in this case, the sheriff's departments. And on that piece of paper is a serial number. Why should ghost guns be different? I don't think they should be. To be honest with you, I think ghost guns should have a serial number, so they become traceable. A lot of these guns are made now on printers, 3D printers. Totally untraceable. Totally, completely untraceable. I have to be honest, I'm not for that. I think there should be some identifying factor on those ghost guns. All right. We'll take a break, come back with more. It's the Art Lewis Show. Lines open if you've got some thoughts. Okay, we're back here on WSGW, the Art Lewis Show, and today is the day the Queen Elizabeth II, turns 96 years old. It's the first of her birthday celebrations because this is the actual day, but not the official celebration in Britain. That happens, I think, on June 2nd to the 5th. They have a celebration. They shoot cannons at Tower of London and Hyde Park and all of that. And they also celebrate because that's the time when they will be celebrating her 70th year on the throne. Came to power when she was 25, 26 years old and has been in power ever since. Health-wise, been a difficult year for the Queen. She's had some issues. But there's a bigger question here. Now, I'm sitting here talking about the Queen of England, Queen Elizabeth. Correct me if I'm wrong, but back a couple hundred years ago plus, didn't we fight to get out under their thumb? But yet here we are, 240 some odd years later, fascinated by the happenings of the royal family in this country and around the world. Why is that? I mean, I have an answer, but think about it. We gave up blood and treasure to break away from the monarchy. And here we are now, fascinated by the monarchy. When one of them gets married, the largest audience in television history around the world, here in the United States, if you watch, I guarantee if you watch network news tonight, there will be something about the Queen's birthday. June 2nd, they'll be programming showing the cannon shots and her 70th and all of that. And the question is, why? Well, in this country, I can't speak for the rest of the world. In this country, I call it the Hollywood gossip mentality. And what do I mean by that? Well, back when I was growing up in the 50s, a long time ago, some of the most popular magazines were the Hollywood gossip magazines. We loved to gossip about people in power or people, who live in a different world than we live in, that we pay way too much money for, who don't contribute that much to society. I mean, why do we pay actors and actresses millions and millions and millions of dollars, or baseball players and other sports players millions and millions and millions of dollars, when we don't pay that to doctors? We don't pay that to bio researchers. We don't pay that to first responders. We don't pay that to the people who daily make an impact in our lives. Never understood it. But it's reality. We have this fixation on people in high places, and the Queen and her family are no different. Love to gossip about the Queen, about Charles, about William, and mostly about Harry and Meghan because now they live here. I just find it interesting that in this country we have this great fixation on royalty. Now, I have to be honest, I am not excluding myself from that fixation. I enjoy watching documentaries about the crown, about the palaces, about the life of the royals. I do. And they're on the Smithsonian Channel and other channels. I watch them when they're available. I never ask myself why. I just enjoy watching them, so I watch them. But it is an interesting question as to why. Back to close out this hour after these notes. And that'll do it for the first hour of the Art Lewis Show. We'll be back next hour. We're going to talk about the quality of the air, starting out after the news. Welcome back. Hour number 2 of the Art Lewis Show here on WSGW. Nice to have you with us from my Saginaw Spirit home studio. We're going to start the hour talking about the air we breathe. There is a report put out by the American Lung Association called The State of the Air 2022. And we're going to learn about that this morning from our special guest from the American Lung Association. We say hello to Ken Fletcher. Ken, good morning to you. I'm glad to have you with us. If I understand right, the American Lung Association has put out this report since about 2000. Is that right? Somewhere in that area? So I have to believe, as a breather, that from the time this report first started back in 2000 till now, things have improved, I would think. Well, we hear a lot about climate change, and it would seem to me as an observer that the United States is doing in many ways more than its part than the rest of the world. I mean, other than those counties that really need individual work as a nation, we're not doing all that bad, are we? I, eh, well, now I have to ask this question. Is that climate change because of the United States or because of China, India, countries that don't seem to care and are pumping all kinds of stuff into the atmosphere far more than we are now? It's a world problem, isn't it? So if we drill down into this report, what are the successes and where are the failures? So the Metro Detroit area, the auto capital of the world, uh, needs help. It's interesting. Yeah, let me ask, Ken. You mentioned coal-fired plants. For a long time, with the rules passed in Washington D.C., stack scrubbers were in place, and the particulate matter coming out of those stacks from coal plants was pretty darn small compared to what it used to be. Is there no place for coal? What about nuclear? Is it your guess, and it'd be mine too, as society moves toward electric vehicles, we have to produce energy to charge those vehicles and at the same time produce energy to supply all the needs of industry and everything else. Um, is it your guess that we have enough renewable energy sources to provide the amount of energy we'll need in moving away from fossil fuels? You mentioned one that I'm particularly familiar with because as a kid I was an asthmatic. Um, in looking at these studies, have we seen a decrease in asthma in this country at all? Hmm. All right. So, in conclusion, as you look at this 2022 air quality report, if you were to grade it A, B, C, D, E, F, F being failure and A being the best, where would this report fall in a grading system? What kind of grade would you give us? All right, Ken. Well, look, we appreciate your time this morning. Thanks for sharing with us. If uh, if people want more information, is there a website they can go to? All right, my friend. Have a great day. Thank you. Take care. Bye bye now. Ken Fletcher from the American Lung Association on their 2022 air quality reports. We'll take a break and we'll have open phones for the remainder of the hour. Anything on your mind, give us a call at 989 752 6111. All right, we're back with you with open phones from now till the top of the hour, 989-752-6111. Love to chat with you this morning. I love that answer that Charlie gave in that promo about my question about, who does God favor, the pitcher or the batter? And they favor sportsmanship. I always looked at it a little differently too. God favored the pitcher from the warm up to the release of the ball, and then favored the batter once the ball is on its way. Oh my goodness! All right, John is in Saginaw, so let us chat with John this morning. Good morning, John. Morning. Yep. Yeah. You're going to see a lot of that too. I think a lot of companies. Ford has already split itself into three pieces. I think there's going to be a lot more of that out there as they begin to separate their various divisions. Still one company, though. No matter how you look at it, it's still one ownership, still one company. Call it what you want. Sure. Boy, it's huge. There was a story online yesterday about that pump storage project and how big that pond is that sits up high and will feed down through an aqua system and water power, hydroelectric, if you will. Uh, exactly. Well, in science, you would call that potential energy, and then once it flows, it's kinetic energy. I can't imagine why the administration would hold that up. Oh, I left myself open to that one. Good answer. Yeah. uh, yeah. Well, listen, the other side of that coin, John, and you know it as well as I. That's his job, and the American Lung Association would like it to be absolutely pure air. So that's their thrust, and I understood that going in. I mean, I knew what I was going to get going in because I kind of glanced at the report before I got to him anyway. But it's that's the nature of the beast, and you look at if primarily. Yep. Well, of course. Yeah, they're starting. Well, they're let's put it this way: they're starting to move in that direction. But they are now where we were probably 80 years ago with stack emissions and everything else. So I got a long way to go. They do, and we'll be happy to sell it to them. Yeah, yeah. Well, it isn't going to happen here. But however, with the reserves we have, anybody in the world would like to buy it, we'll be happy to sell it to them. Yeah, there you go. What happens when fossil fuel? There you go. What happens when fossil fuel diminishes? Plastic is going to be history unless they figure a new way to make it. Sure, absolutely, absolutely. And the fossil fuel industry because it's powered us for decades and decades and decades. All right, John. Have a good day. Take care. Bye bye. All right, we're going to take a break on that and be back. Lines open for you here on the Art Lewis Show. All right, time to play Baseball Bucks on WSGW. Right now, you can qualify to win the daily cash prize of $1,000 by entering the following word online at WSGW.com. The word this hour is bloop. It's a bloop single, B-L-O-O-P. Enter that word at Alpha Media. It's an Alpha Media company-wide contest. Must be 18 or older to play. One winner chosen each day. Complete rules at WSGW.com. Baseball Bucks, presented by Stone Specialists here on WSGW. Back to our phones. Russ is in Bay City. Russ, good morning. Yeah. Well, no, you're forgetting something, Russ. Russ, you're forgetting something. When agencies are created within their powers, they are given certain rule-making powers, and that's legislated by the creation of the agency. Well, that's what the judge ruled. That's what the judge ruled. That's what the judge ruled. We'll see what the appeal is, but that's what the judge ruled. But understand that agencies do have the power to make certain rules within their authorization. Well, I'm not disagreeing. I'm not disagreeing. I'm just pointing that out. That's all. Well, here's what's going to happen. Uh, Here's what's going to happen. Here's what's going to happen. Justice is going to appeal this, and they will do it in an appeals court that favors them. And then it'll go to the Supreme Court if it gets that far, and then we'll get a ruling from the Supremes. So that's what's happening, and hopefully they do it in an expedited fashion because, I mean, the rule is going to expire on May 3rd unless the CDC decides to extend it again, which I wonder if they will. Well, they don't appeal it. They told the Justice Department they think it should be appealed, and the Justice Department will do the appeal. Yeah, they did, and the Justice Department waited for him. But the reality is, I wonder if there's going to be any rulings before May 3rd when it's going to expire anyway. But who knows? This is not so much. This is yep. This is not all right, Russ. This is not about the rule. Let's understand that. This is about precedent as to whether or not the CDC has the right to make those kinds of rules, and that's what justice in the CDC is really fighting for. They want the courts to say yes, they can. This judge said no, you can't. So this is all about precedent. So all right, good enough. Take care. Bye bye now. And Joe in Bay City. Joe, good morning to you. Doing fine, thanks. I will not be. Although I want to see it. It's funny because I tuned last night. I was just in switching channels. I was watching something on TV, and in switching channels, I ended up on the game right when Miggy was up for the last time, and they were hoping for a 3,000th hit. So I watched him, and then he struck out. So, I'm not a good luck charm. He is. I mean, he's doing well. He amazes me considering considering his age relative to baseball players. He's got the wherewithal, and I'm happy to see it. I'm happy to. Well, they used to be my Yankees until Steinbrenner bought them years ago, and that was the end of my Yankee fandom. And remember, I'm a Bronx kid. I was born and raised in the Bronx. I knew how to sneak into Yankee Stadium, the old one. I figured the statute of limitations is gone now, so I can reveal that. Well, I mean, I when I was very, very, very young, I saw DiMaggio, but I saw a lot of Mantle and Maris, and yeah, we knew where the holes in the wall were. uh, not enough. Yeah, yeah, and they could apply for citizenship if they went through all the courses and all that stuff. It, Yeah, well, everybody wants to make their argument. So we have actually, some of the guys at the station when they have time because they're doing other things while I'm doing this. But every now and then somebody will say something, and I'll get a fact check on my screen where they'll say no, it's this or that. The other matter of fact, this morning I wasn't sure the name of it when the guy said, when Al said consumers said this about the Palisades plant. Well, they don't own it anymore, but I'd forgotten the name of the company that did, and one of the guys at the station typed it up for me and told me it was Energy, so I knew. So it does happen. There we go. So once in a while, yeah, once in a while. All right, Joe, got to run. Take care. Me too. Take care. Bye bye now. I will be back after these notes. All right. And we are back with you. A reminder of the word, the baseball Bucks word this hour, because apparently there was a little blip on the FM side. Not everybody heard it. The word this hour is bloop, B-L-O-O-P, like he hit a bloop single. And you put that word online at WSGW.com. It's an Alpha Media company-wide contest. You must be 18 or older to play. One winner chosen each day. Complete rules at WSGW.com. Baseball Bucks presented by Stone Specialists on WSGW. And again, the word this hour, bloop, B-L-O-O-P, because apparently we had a bloop on the FM site. So there you are. All right, just a few minutes left here on the Art Lewis Show. A couple of headlines that caught my attention in the world of politics. We've avoided talking about very much politics here recently. This one is from The Hill. The headline is, "All Hope Isn't Lost for Democrats in November." That's an interesting headline, and you'd think you'd read this article and they would justify that, right? Now, you read this article, and it's paragraph after paragraph of reasons why they're going to lose in November. I just chuckled at it because apparently it's written by a Democrat, because in the end she says something about her party line vote shouldn't be taken for granted. She's talking about all the pluses of the Democratic Party that have done good for the American people that nobody cares about. It really is interesting to read this. I mean, I read it and I'm scratching my head. How in the world did they ever come up with that headline, "All Hope Isn't Lost for the Democrats," when this entire article demonstrates how much hope is lost for the Democrats? Sometimes you really have to, you scratch your head. And then the next headline from something called The Point, CNN Politics, CNN, remember that now. "It's been a very bad few days for Joe Biden." And to me, it's been a series of bad days for Joe Biden, but that's beside the point. He just, is not able to get across whatever positives he views as what his administration has done. Couple that with news about the border, and he's now had to hold up on the repeal of Title 42, and couple that with the economy, and couple that with inflation and the war, and all of these things. You look at all of these things, but you can put most of them aside, because when we go to the polls, most people, not all, but most people vote with their pocketbook. And right now, pocketbooks are hurting. And while pocketbooks continue to hurt, he's going to have a tough sell to the American public. We'll be back. All right, that'll do it for this hour of the Art Lewis Show. We thank you for being with us as always. And we will have Focus coming along. We're going to talk to Ken Buck about a couple of things. Buck Insurance, of course. We'll talk about the history of the insurance company with Ken and how he got involved in it. And we will also talk about the Freeland Walleye Festival because Ken is deeply involved in that. As I will be next week, I'm going to be out at McDonald Ford on Friday and Burt Watson on Saturday for the Freeland Walleye Festival. For now, CBS News coming along with the national and international report. Then we'll have the local news for you from the region and the state. Back with Focus right after the news on WSGW. I see you signed on, Ken, but I don't see an image. All right. Good morning and welcome to Focus here on WSGW. And Focus, brought to you by RoofMax, the safe, proven, and affordable alternative to expensive asphalt shingle roof replacement. Find out about RoofMax online at roofmax.com or call Ben at 989-859-6751. That's RoofMax with 2 X's. I'm coming to you from my Saginaw Spirit home studio. I will not be in my home studio next Friday and Saturday. I'll be at the Freeland Walleye Festival, and we will talk about that. But we're going to also talk about some other things with our guest this hour from Buck Insurance, and we're going to see if this works. I say hello to Ken Buck. Ken, are you there?
Yes, I am. Good morning, Art. How are you doing today?
Good morning. You sound great. Perfect. We're on a non-video link with Ken, but that's all right. So I want to talk a little bit about Buck Insurance. So we've talked for a long time, but never about the history of the company and how you got involved in the insurance industry. So how did it all begin?
Well, it started, my grandfather was a dairy farmer along with my father and my uncle, and my grandfather got injured at the farm, so it hurt his back, so he was not able to do a lot of the physical labor that happened. So he started selling Pioneer seed corn and also signed up and started selling life insurance for a fraternal insurance company. Oh. And there was Citizens Insurance was looking for an agent in this area. The field representative showed up at my grandfather's farm and said, "Are you interested in selling property and casualty insurance?" So the field rep took my grandfather around to a bunch of different farms, and he started writing insurance that day. So this was back in 1942.
I was going to ask, it was during the war, huh?
Yes, it was.
Wow.
My father and grandfather and uncle were in the agriculture business, so they were not able to enlist in the services at that point in time because they needed farmers.
Yep. So what, the company is 80 years old now?
Yep, this is the 80th year of our existence, and I'm not that old, so.
Yeah. Well, I'm 79. I'm getting there, but so what drew you into it? Was it just a natural path as a family member?
I grew up and I said I was never going to be in the insurance business. I was going to be an architect or something else, and one thing led to another. In 1983, I started working at the agency here, so I've been here ever since. Next year will be 40 years at the agency for me, and it's just kind of grown. My grandfather retired, and my father took over the agency, and then he retired, and I took over the agency in like 1995. So I've been the owner since 95 here.
The essence of the family business.
Yes.
And has it always been in Freeland?
It's always been at Freeland. It started at my grandfather's farm on Buck Road, just north of the airport, and then it moved in 1965. It moved to its current location. That was back when M47 was still a 2-lane road.
Wow.
So soon after that, it moved to the current location. That's when the big state project came through and widened it to 5 lanes. But when we first started here as a 2-lane road.
And Buck Road, who was that named after?
That was named after some of my ancestors. They were greengrocers in England, and in the 1850s, late 1850s, 2 brothers came across and landed in New York, and there was a land speculator that had land available in Tittabawassee Township, and fresh off the boat, they bought 2 80-acre parcels, and
no kidding.
In Tittabawassee Township, and they traveled here. And the first fall, they got here like mid-late summer, so they really didn't have time to set up something. So the first winter, they had a sod house that they lived in, and then after that, then they gradually built and farm since then.
Wow.
Since then.
Family history in the community. So
yes.
If we look at Buck Insurance today, how would you describe the mission of the agency? What products do you sell, and what don't you sell?
I don't sell bail bonds. That's one thing. But pretty much any type of insurance that you need, like life insurance and annuities and homeowners insurance and auto and business insurance and umbrellas and pretty much anything that you would need to have. With notary public bonds and other bonding for commercial purposes and pretty much everything.
Correct me if I'm wrong. You are not a captive agent, right?
I am not a captive agent. I'm an independent agent. I have contracts with 6 different insurance companies so I can shop for my clients and try to get them the best rate with the companies that I represent.
All right. Well, Ken, hang on. We come back. Ken is involved in the community too, folks, and we're going to talk about the Walleye Festival a little bit when we return. We're talking to Ken Buck from Buck Insurance here on Focus on WSGW. Time to play WSGW's Baseball Bucks, presented by Stone Specialists. Right now, you can qualify to win the daily cash prize of $1,000 by entering the following word online at WSGW.com. The word this hour is jersey. The outer garment worn by baseball players is known as a jersey. It's an Alpha Media Company-wide contest. Must be 18 or older to play. One winner chosen each day. Complete rules at WSGW.com. Baseball Bucks, presented by Stone Specialists on WSGW. All right, back with you here on WSGW, talking to Ken Buck from Buck Insurance in Freeland, where next week the Walleye Festival takes place, and we're going to talk about that a little bit with Ken right now. So, Ken, the Walleye Festival survives the pandemic and returns in, we hope, pretty good shape. It started last year. It was back again. What's ahead for us this year?
Well, last year, because of all the different restrictions that we had, only thing we were able to hold really is the outdoor events. And because it was April in Michigan, you don't know if it's going to be sunny and 70 or it's going to be sleeting and snowing and 20. So This year we've got all of the standard slate of events that we've always had. This is the 36th annual, so we've been doing this a little bit of time. We have two new events this year. We're having duck races down the river. So that's going to happen Thursday at 6:00 p.m. So we got authorization from the state and the DNR and everybody, so we're all good to go with that. They're going to drop them off at the bridge on Freeland Road, and they're going to float down to the Memorial Park building there, and the winner gets some money. So the ducks are $5 a piece to buy. We're almost sold out, but not quite. And
Where do you buy them?
You can contact your friendly neighborhood Freeland Lions Club member, or they're at the Freeland location of the Isabella Bank, or at my agency.
Okay.
And the winners, the first three ducks that cross the finish line, they win money. But the first thing that starts on Thursday is the official start of the community-wide garage sales. So we have tens of thousands of people that come into Freeland, because you can't go down any street, I don't think, in the whole township and not see 5 to 10 garage sales.
You could have stopped right there. You can't go down any street.
Yes. Yes, it's bad because the school has to shut down on Thursday and Friday because they can't safely get their buses down the street. Yeah. So we don't like to encourage people to start their garage sales early, because then that brings more people to the town, and then between the people walking around to get the garage sales and the school kids trying to get to work to school can be a hazardous situation. So we're hoping people don't try to be early birds and wait until Thursday morning to start their garage sales.
Big car show on Saturday?
Yes. We usually have depending on the weather, between 100 to 200 vehicles there. It's going to be down at McDonald Ford. And we've had everything from a 1909 steam car to racing bar stools to racing skateboards to you name it, and we've had it there. So
you mentioned a hot Corvette that somebody owns.
Yeah, my Corvette's going to be there.
Yeah, I thought so. Yeah, I will be at McDonald Ford on Friday, previewing that and talking about the festival, and probably also going to talk a little bit to Tom McDonald about the auto business this year, different as it is. And then Saturday, I'm going to be moving over to Burt Watson. And what's going to happen at Burt Watson? Is that where the tents are going to be?
That's where our official beer tent is. And Friday night, we have live entertainment for the band Stone Street Revival is playing. And I understand one of the members there used to play in Verve Pipe. So we've kind of a famous musician is in that band. Is excellent entertainment. And then Saturday we start with we have a youth cornhole tournament. That's our second new event, and that's going to be held at the Second Street Pub, which is just down the street from Watson's. And then we're going to have a beer pong in the afternoon, along with a Texas Hold'em tournament. And then at night we're going to have the Sinclairs playing in our tent. So we have a long, involved slate of events happening Saturday.
So let me ask Ken, is there a website or someplace where people can get more information? And is there a map of the garage sales?
The garage sale registration is closing today. So if anybody wants their name on the map, they have to get it in right immediately, because we don't have the maps out yet because we're waiting for the registration to close. So those should be available Monday all the way around town. The garage sale maps. The flyers are available, and they're available in business. They're mailed to everyone in the 48623 zip code, and then also they're available pretty much any business around town for the.
And again, ducks are still available in limited supply.
Yeah, there are a few duck raffle tickets left, and you buy a raffle ticket, and that number on your ticket corresponds to the number on the duck. And good luck to everyone. Hopefully your duck wins.
You put two of those ducks aside for me.
Okay.
Ken Buck, and he is, of course, with Buck Insurance. Tell him where you're located and how they can get a hold of you.
I am located at 7585 Midland Road in Freeland, Michigan. And if anyone is interested in the Walleye Festival, they can go to www.freelandwalleyefestival.com.
Excellent, Ken. We'll look forward to seeing you next week.
Yep, we'll see you Friday.
All righty. Take care.
Thank you,
Bye-bye.
Art. Bye.
You bet. Ken Buck from Buck Insurance. We thank him for joining us. We'll take our last break and then come back and finish up. I want to talk to you for a moment about Sanitary Mattress. You know, we're asked to do more for less these days, and theoretically, we spend a third of our life in bed, figure 8 hours a day, about a third of your life. You really want a quality sleep, and you can get it with a quality mattress from Sanitary Mattress. Now, you can visit all the so-called sleep stores, or you can rest assured that the mattress you're sleeping on is made right here in the Great Lakes Bay region to your specifications. Your dollars are spent and they stay right here in our local economy. Your time in bed shouldn't be cut short by today's demanding world. You can still get a quality good night's sleep on a Sanitary Mattress. And by the way, they feature a 1 hour delivery window of your mattress to your home. So if you have an RV or a boat, Sanitary Mattress will custom make a mattress for you, something the box stores can't do. Visit the Sanitary Mattress factory and showroom serving this area since 1935. Set your GPS to 5343 Janes Road in Saginaw, just east of the Harry Brown Airport. Visit them on the web at sanitarymattress.com or call them at 989-753-1757. Sanitary Mattress.